Hello everyone again, and thank you all for coming tonight. It's a really interesting topic to talk about, and it has been sort of spoken about lately a lot, and a lot last year, about the impact of funding and technology on black music and what the impact has been within Liverpool especially. So we've got three industry experts, all working different departments, different roles within Liverpool, but they've all got a great knowledge about what's going on in the city, and specifically about black music, black arts, all behind the scenes, the jobs that you don't really know about and the things that's going on, and funding, which is prevalent at the moment, and we've had so many cuts, and so it's important that we get this topic spoken about and more people know about it. We've also got some fantastic artists coming on a bit later, but first we're over to our three industry experts. So if you'd just like to introduce yourself one by one and tell us a bit about what you do within the city.
Thanks, Heather. So I'm Sharice Weaver. For those that don't know, I'm the head of equality, diversity and inclusivity over at LIPA, Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts. Aside from that, my co-founder is in the room as well, Paisley Reid. We are the co-founders of the Black Actors Collective. My other business partner, who's working on Brassic at the moment, Leon Lopez, is also my co-founder for our production company, Parliamentary Productions, and that's me. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Hi, excuse me, I've got laryngitis, but I will try my best to stay talking. I'm Barbara Phillips. I'm the Director Manager of Positive Impact, which is an arts and development training agency for young people. I started off as a singer many years ago. I think I was in the first female vocal harmony group in the 70s, and we were signed to EMI Records.
Woo!
Yeah, my name is Freddie Mendes. I'm originally from Angola. I'm graduating this year from LIPA in music entertainment management. In my background in music, I opened an independent record label back home, still running. I'm developing a lot of stuff back there, and now I'm based here and trying to do the same over here for the black music, basically. Afro-Caribbean. Yeah, that's me.
So the first topic we're going to cover, which is really, it's been everywhere at the moment. So we're talking about technology and AI and the impact. We all know it's going to have a massive impact on music. And black music has been taken advantage of for a long time now. And so to see AI come about at a time which I think technology is hitting all industries and we all have to adapt and change. What do you think the impact of technology is going to have within your area of work?
So I already know from an educational stance, some of the meetings that I have bi-weekly meetings with the CEO about some of the changes and things that are happening. I know that they're in talks with Google already about putting things in place, and especially in the area of music. That seems to be a big area now where they want to bring AI in. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is they're going to be doing. I think it might be around songwriting and stuff like that. But I think it is going to be a massive change in the music industry, just from what I'm picking up from an educational stance.
And even from the actor's perspective, do you think that AI and all of the technology that's happening, do you think that's going to have a massive impact on the acting world?
Absolutely. When I was training back in the 90s as an actress, I was reading Stanislavski and, all the greats, so to speak. But there was a book that I was reading called Actors in the 20th Century, or the 21st Century, should I say, sorry. And there was an extract about puppets taking over. But I knew now what that meant. They're talking about AI, so things like you'll see it in commercials and stuff. They'll have cartoons instead of people and stuff like that. But I think AI is going to be the big thing, and I think it is going to be really difficult for actors going forward because of how intelligent and clever it is. And the way that now when you see certain things, you would be tricked to think that that was a real person and not AI. So why are they going to use real people that they're going to have to pay lots of money for when they can use AI? So I think it is going to have a massive impact. So we've got to find other ways around, well, how do we still make that work for us as human beings?
And I think even within that world, we have to be really vigilant when it comes to contracts and things, because a lot of the small print is saying to give away our likeness, and we're signing away things for small amounts of money, £150, and you're an extra or you're a supporting artist, and you've just signed away your likeness for, say, 5 years because you haven't read the small print, and not many people do. And do you think that's going to impact? We don't really work with contracts within the Liverpool music scene, I would say, or from a music perspective, but do you think that's going to impact moving forward? Do you think there needs to be more training around contracts and what you're signing away and what things mean?
Absolutely, but if we're talking about music, I'm going to hand over to either Freddie or Barbara, because I feel like a fraud because my background is music.
I think it's a bit of a disclaimer to say that we don't work around contracts, because any artists that I've worked with, we've always done it professionally, and we've always worked with contracts, whether it's recording contracts or concert contracts. There's always been a contract in place. I think AI is just going to be another hurdle for us to get over. I don't think that's going to be our biggest opposition, really. I think we're already at the bottom of the barrel. It'll take a long time for that to hit us.
Okay.
For me, as a perspective of a manager, AI is going to be the best tool you're going to have, because it depends how you use it. I was reading this Brazilian guy, he's an expert on IT, and he was saying that it's not artificial, because you have to talk with him so he can give you what you want, but he's giving you what you actually asking. So you actually having a relationship with a computer that is gonna study you and is gonna give you the answers that you want. And we had today a masterclass with this guy from Big Cookies. And Big Cookies is like a kind of digital marketing company in Liverpool. And he's showing us the tools they actually use to actually engage in the backstage as a, for example, Jazz is a musician, and for his social media, you have tools with AI that you can actually just make a click and it does everything for you. You can go and make websites and stuff like that, because it does the coding as well for you. So I think for entrepreneurs and independent people as me, it's going to be good, because the majors been using that for a while, because we've been using Google and Siri and all that. They AIs, but they didn't told us it's AI. It's Siri, you know what I mean? And it's Google. But you've been asking the same questions on Google, where you ask for all these ChatGPTs and all Shark something. And so as a business, I think it's going to be good. For artists, it's going to be difficult, because it's copyright and stuff like that. It's going to make it difficult for them to actually generate any income, because I can type now on ChatGPT and say I want some guy like Jazz, and I put the video of Jazz playing, and he's going to make it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it's scary. But for business, I think it's going to help us as independents and entrepreneurs to actually be with the majors, be there at the same level, because now we understand all this paperwork that they've been taking advantage. Because now we can read, even if you don't want to read, it's programs they read for you, and you just listen. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be, depends. It's one of them, you know what I mean?
And I think one of the good things is, with ChatGPT, a lot of the things that I was talking about previously in regards to contracts and things, you can ask it. So you can put it in and ask it to explain it in layman's terms. What does that mean for me? And it'll give you it, it'll explain it in a lot easier way to understand that's not that legal jargon, which is a good thing, I think. But are you not worried that potentially AI is going to become more intelligent than we are?
No, myself I don't, because we're the ones who actually generate the AI, because it's data. It's a data that is there in the cloud, and it's every information that you put in the cloud that actually the AI gonna give you. It's like the same, if you put all the time violence on the Google, it's gonna appear all the time on Google violence. But if you change the narrative and you start putting positive, it's like the AI. If you start making like these kind of things with the music, like type of I don't know, like for example Kanye West, I think he took a song from Cardi, Playboy I think is his name, and it was an AI. So he took the song and put AI on Kanye West's rhyme, and now it's time to sue him and all that. So it's these kind of things that is worried. But I think the perspective...
I disagree. I already think that AI is already more intelligent than us. But that's my own personal opinion. And I do think things are going to change, and things are going to change quite quickly as well. Just from conversations that I'm having.
I think it's more how you're going to use the tool. You know what I mean? It's the same with the producer, they have Fruity Loops, now they have Logic, now they have, you know what I mean? It's the same, it's going to always, and now you have the AI for Fruity Loops, AI for but it's going to be bad for some producers that like to produce like back in the days, but it's going to be easy for some guy who's out of tune, because you can actually make a voice like Whitney Houston with one button.
So there's two things there that you're saying, Freddie. What I'm hearing is that if you're a manager and you're behind the scenes, it's going to be good on that level. But if you're an artist, it's not going to be as good.
For certain departments, yeah, because like for marketing, for merchandise, for all these kind of things. For example, if you are an artist and you have your own website, so it's easy for you to use certain tools that's gonna do the work for you. You don't need like 10 people there in the machine, in the computer. You need 3, 4, 5 people that is gonna use them tools, that is gonna do the work, like the statistics, all that. You don't need to do Excel anymore.
So what happens to the artist?
No, like I said, for me is a big issue for the artist. As a manager, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's good for my job, because it's gonna give me more opportunities for me to actually do what the major do. Because the major been using AI for ages, but we didn't know. This is another story as well.
And I think we've got AI artists at the moment that have got millions of followers and that are releasing music, and that already has replaced some aspect of music, and I think that potentially is going to become more prevalent, because you as a manager, your job would be much easier if your artist was AI. Less trouble, less hassle, turning up on time wouldn't be an issue. They're always going to be in tune, really, aren't they? And so would you...
If you want to make easy money, yeah. But if you actually, as me, who start, you know me, developing stuff back home, I prefer the person. You know what I mean, and work with him and develop him, and you know what I mean. And like I said, AI, it will be good for marketing. Depends on the department you work. You know what I mean. For H&R, for A&R people, it's gonna be good, because it's gonna give him more easy tools for them to actually present to the artist what the artist want. For example, with engaging. You know what I mean? I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what Barbara's thinking. But one thing I was going to say is, you know, as I said earlier, I'm not a singer, I'm not from the music background. But I think, you know, the thing that human beings bring is emotion. So AI is not going to bring that. You know, I'd rather get served by someone when I go to the shop than have to go to a machine. And I think it's the same concept.
Yeah, I mean, I have managed a band and we were very, very successful. And for me, it was more about the passion of doing that. I mean, I think that AI is a little bit over my head because, okay, it might help with things. Look, I mean, I've gone on ChatGPT and it's astonishing how quick and ideas and that, but I don't feel like there's anything human about it. You know, like I really don't. I think I also teach script writing, and I know which students have used ChatGPT and I know which ones haven't. So for me, I don't think that's what we should be worrying about at the moment. I don't think we've got too many more problems than AI.
Okay, and from your perspective, what would you say within grassroots is the things that we should be worrying about?
I mean, there's so many things that we don't have here in Liverpool. I don't think we have a collective mind as a people. I think like we all work in isolation because we've been brought up on my success is your failure. Because we can only be one group or one black this or one black that. So we've never ever worked collectively. And I think it's held us back because like we can all be good in certain disciplines, but we're having to master all those disciplines to keep you out. Whereas if we said, I do this, and in relay you do that, and you do that, it would have worked a lot better.
And do you find with the young people that you work with, do you find that that is better than the older people that you're not working with, or are you finding that you're having to teach that?
To be honest, I've gone backwards to go forward, if you like. So I'm working more in development with young people. So at this moment, they're not even recording or anything. But I've stayed with the same formula that I had, whereas it was kind of like intensive development from an early age. And I know it works because most of the artists from Liverpool, in Liverpool, came through Positive Impact. You know, there's no doubt about it. Most of the successful artists, there's artists with record labels, publishing deals, playing the biggest. Someone will tell me that in Dubai, someone will be in, I don't know, Maldives, and it's worked. It's a different. I think Liverpool has a different way of developing its talent than anywhere else, because I think, from my understanding and from my learning, is we have to start with our young people a lot earlier, because they're not going into LIPA or further education. They're meeting up with those people at 18 who come to the city to be part of the Liverpool scene. But if we don't get our young people early enough, they're not ready to compete with that, because they're coming from school and they don't get their music in school. Most of the young people I know, and there's been many, have got their music from grassroots organisations.
And I would say Positive Impact is extremely successful in giving the young people something different, something that makes them stand out. And what would you say, how are you doing that? Because a lot of the young people that have gone on to really big successes have come from Positive Impact, and a lot of people outside of the city know of Positive Impact. So what is it that you're doing differently?
I mean, I think it's exactly what I said. We get them from a very early age. So the likes of Mike Lowry, we were working with them from the age of 10. There's quite a few of them. They were all under 16. Now we work with them from 6, because we don't have a Brit school as such. So like, we needed to provide something that was an alternative, that was free of charge, working with people in the industry who'd gone through it as role models, working with people who look like them so they could see that it was a possibility. I think it just basically is investing in your youth and future-proofing the music industry by doing that.
And did you feel the cuts, when all the funding cuts happened, did you as an organisation feel that?
We work on cuts. We're not a funded organisation, to be absolutely honest. I mean, if there's question number one, why aren't we a funded organisation in Liverpool? So like, that's what I'm saying. AI is up there. We've got bigger problems than that. Just getting realistic funding for young talent in Liverpool.
And is there anything that people can do to help you get funding or to support your organisation?
I mean, of course there is. I mean, I'm on the Liverpool Music Board. I sit with people with a lot of money all day long. If people wanted to make change, they would make change.
And why do you think they're not?
I mean, I don't want to be talking about Positive Impact all day, but in my opinion, Black music in Liverpool has always been on the fringe. It's the Mersey beat. Liverpool music and black music's always been over there. So it doesn't pull in resources, it doesn't pull in, there's no backing for it. It hasn't changed. As I said, I was an artist in the 70s. It hasn't changed.
And that's really disappointing to hear that it hasn't changed since then. How would you say funding impacts you?
Well, it's a similar story, obviously, and my son many years ago obviously worked with Positive Impact, and I've seen the impact that you guys have had in the black community with what you guys have done and are still doing. It feels like as well, from my perspective as an actress, and this is again why Paisley and I set up the Black Actors Collective, it's like I'm looking at Paisley and I'm thinking, this is 20 years on and nothing's changed. What is going on? And again, through the role that I do over at Lipper, I auditioned there. I was one of the first people to go in and audition there. And I always laugh because I said I didn't go in that way, I went in that way. And the reason I went in that way is because I've done all my trials and tribulations as an actress and all the other jobs that I've done as well, and being a mum and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the reason I went in is because I knew what I was going into and I knew what I was going in to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I was going to open them doors and bring in as many people as I could from our community, which I'm continuing to do. And I get really emotional when I speak about it. And when I see people coming through the doors and they're like, I've never been in here before, people that live on the other side. It's like, how have we got these amazing things in our city that we don't have access to? And what we've got to do is try our best, if we can, to get access, even if it's one of us that gets access. And I always say, whatever door I walk through, everyone else is coming with me. But they have to have earned their stripes. I'm not just taking anyone, okay? So, and I put that out there all the time because I know who's putting the work in. And I know that people have different perceptions of how, and this is the thing what you said about Liverpool, people do work in silo, and I think it's because there's so much trauma around what happens within the arts because there's not enough funding, because everyone is fighting for their little corner and their little piece of the pie when actually there's enough for all of us. So that's why, and Freddie knows this as well, anything that I do, anyone that's around me, I'm bringing them into that space. Freddie's work with, we now sponsor Africa Oye. You know, Freddie's right there, front line and centre, and I like working with people that know the industry, they know what they're doing. I haven't got a school yet, you know what I mean? Obviously, Barbara, you're working with a lot of young people, so you're harnessing that talent and bringing that through. But it is really, just going back again to what you said, it's about us all coming together and working together, no matter what area we're in, because I was a bit sceptical about coming today, because I'm like, I'm a fraud, I'm not, music's not my area, but actually, this conversation needs to happen, and it needs to happen more.
And how would you say we improve visibility? Because if we're all sort of scrapping for these same little bits of work, in order to bring more people, we have to be more visible. And I don't know how other black artists feel about it, but especially lately, we've had a few conversations, myself and Jazz, where we've been labelled angry and that same stereotype. And sometimes I'm quite conscious of making my voice too loud at the risk of coming across angry. And I think sometimes you're pushing that and you want to bring all these people with you, but how do you think we make ourselves more visible?
So, again, speaking from my own experience, when I first went to university, I was called Educate and Reset because I always had my hand up. I always wanted to know. And when I'd come out of the class, everyone would say to me, you've asked the questions that I was too scared to ask. But then, working in the industry and coming from Liverpool 8, I was here literally on this street when Tuxedo Riot happened, remember it all as a kid. And for me, it was like Christmas had come at once. I seen all sweets on the floor. I always tell this story. And I was like, oh my God, trying to get as many sweets as I could, not realising the debris that was actually happening around me because I was a kid and I was seeing it through kids' eyes. I was just seeing sweets on the floor. But going back to what you said, building resilience, and my thing as well is killing people with kindness. So because people might want to see me, and I know as the black angry woman, that's not how I'm coming at you. I'm going to come at you articulate, and I'm going to come at you with niceness, and I'm going to say, this is what I need, can you do this thing? But not everybody works from that place, you know. But what I try to do is, like Barbara as well, is you have to show them coming up what it looks like so they can see. So my first day at LIPA, when I was on that stage, the amount of students, I went into town for my lunch, but the amount of students that stopped me and said, we cannot believe that there's a black woman that's ahead on the, do you know what I mean? And there's, now I've got students that have left there that have said they would never come back in, and I'm going to say the name Gaia, they would never come back in, and now she comes in and does events because I've opened the doors in a different way and trying to change the culture from the inside out. But all we can do is try and keep working together and share, because I think as well the biggest thing, and I think I spoke maybe to you about this today, Paisley, was about communication. So I see in the institution where the communication breakdown is, but I also see that massively in our community. There's always been a massive communication breakdown. I'll even say this, last week I went to outside the town hall for all the stuff that's happening with the Caribbean Centre, and I've got to say I felt ashamed because there was a handful of people there, and it's like, where's the solidarity, where's the coming together? I remember Carnival, you know, you could just turn up at the Rialto and they'd throw something on you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It didn't matter if you wasn't there every day, you was always included, and that's what's missing, is the inclusivity, including everyone in what we're all doing. I hope that answered the question. I know I'll go off.
It did, and I always feel emotional as well about it, because I remember my dad would bring me to the Caribbean Centre and all of his mates were there, and it was just by word of mouth. That's where you were going, that's where you congregated, and it was people like you saw people like you, but you saw people like your parents who spoke like your parents. And I feel like now, and maybe this has got something to do with technology in a way, that we're so separated, there's so many dangers out there, we don't want to come together, but then as you say, we're all still a little bit, everyone seems a little bit suspicious of each other, they don't fully trust. And how do we break down those barriers? Because we were trained and taught not to trust anybody. Like, people came in and put those barriers between us all. So when it comes to community, it's still a little bit of a struggle.
I'm kind of fed up walking around or driving around my city and seeing big production companies and seeing things on telly, and that's my city, and I can't see my people in there. Where's my people? So that's why I'm doing the work I'm doing, and Paisley's doing what she's. We're all on the same page, but we're all doing it in different ways. It's about finding ways now where we can actually come together. One thing I will say is I've had a quote sent today off one of our lecturers, who I know she wants Jazz to come in. I've told Jazz this and do a guest talk, and I know there's other people in the room that she wants to come in, but she's just took on a new role, and she's going to try and bring in as many people through the door in the music industry, because obviously it's not my area, but I'm always trying to make the link still to bring the right people through the doors as well. And I say the right people because, again, it can't just be anyone. I personally know who's doing what. You know, I don't know everyone, but I know most people, and people that I can see in this room that I know of work that dare I say it, for many, many years, and still aren't getting what I see, the props and the kudos that they deserve.
Well, for me, I'm still developing the part of being about this grassroots. But for what I've been living here, I live here since 2004. I lived in the powerhouse 4 years, so I understand a little bit the situation, and I study about Liverpool, you know, me background and all, slavery, blah blah blah. Black music here was one of the first, you know what I mean, and then Beatles came, and then other groups came that, you know what I mean, and was. But I think one of the big problems is that the gatekeepers is well still the same. It's like the same in the job center. You go there and it's like a 50 or 6-story but she's 60 years old, she doesn't understand IT, she doesn't understand nothing, and she's there talking about your future. You know what I mean? And it's things like that that needs to change. And as well, the elders. If this is in any country, I come from Angola and it's the same. The elders didn't pass like these two women here, didn't pass the message like to others. For example, when I met Cherise, she started telling me, go there, go. And I just went, you know what I mean? And start doing stuff. And it's things like that we actually need. Is we need the gatekeeper, sorry, and actually the elders pass the key or trespass. So us start developing, like for example, we have Golf with the studio, you know me. We have Carrie's, she's not here, but she's now with the studio for DJs, with courses. So we need more of that, you know what I mean? And Carrie been how long in the industry, you know what I mean, with the kids, like the same. So it's things that need to change, so we actually can break the gate, basically, you know what I mean? And you actually, like Cherise said, you actually sometimes you have to see the words that you're actually using to go speak with these people, you know what I mean? Because it's different ways. You're in the street and you go to an interview. It's the same as you going to an interview. You're not going there and say, yeah, man. You know what I mean? For example, you're going to work for Universal. And, oh, yeah, man, I've done. Can't be that talk. So it's basically the same, that because of what the elders didn't give us, we developed through the internet and to all these tools, YouTube, Fruity Loops. We developed a lot of mates that I know from Talkstuff. They got a computer from Cash Convert. They put Fruity Loop and they start digging. They didn't went to any course. They didn't went to any, you know what I mean? The same as me. I started in Angola in 2010. And now I'm 41 and I'm finished my graduation just now. You know what I mean? And so it's things like that we didn't understand because we didn't have the person to actually tell you, yo, this is the way you gotta do. Don't act like this, present like that. This is the type of contract, this is the paper, this is a contract, this is the streaming. So it's a lot of lack of, because the funding is there. Mm-hmm. The funding is there. It's a lot of community centers, it's a lot of festivals, it's a lot of people who are actually gaining real money in this, I'm not just talking about UK, talking about just in Liverpool, you know what I mean? So it just needs to let the youngest do it, basically.
I'll just say on the back of what Freddie said, the reason that I do that and I share as much information as I can and try and link people is because there was people that could have done it for me, but didn't. Lots of people, and when you talk about gatekeepers and stuff like that, and elders, there's people that can do and should have done a lot more for the generation coming up that haven't. And I watch what people do and it shows me what not to do. I've watched bad managers and I've thought, okay, I would never manage people like that. And I've watched people within my own community that could have done things for people, but for whatever reasons. So it really is about that, about passing the baton and opening the doors and making the links, but for the people that deserve it as well. But it's not that we pick and choose our favourites. It's not about nepotism. It's about people, like I say, that have earned their stripes as well, or that are committed or determined or really, really want it. And that's the difference, because some people have got the talent, but they're lazy. I'm sure people come across them all the time, people that are really talented, but don't get to the audition or whatever on time, you know. And that makes a difference, because it's all about reputation as well. So even me coming here, it's like I've come into a space that I wouldn't say is mine, but Jazz had asked me to come. I can't let him down. I've committed to that now. So I've got to be here because someone else is reliant on me being here. And there's other people that now are reliant on all of us being here. So it just comes down to people sharing their knowledge and sharing whatever they've got to share. Again, I go back to saying with the right people.
And I think when we talk about the right people, we can look at record labels and the impact that they have. And do you think enough people, artists from Liverpool, black artists, are being signed by major labels?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, they had to get out of Liverpool to actually made a success. That's why you see lack of black festivals, venues, shows, promoters, more on Afrobeats, piano, DJing, and stuff like that. But you don't actually see a concert. You know what I mean? Like a show. Like it's difficult for you to actually go out on a Friday and you're gonna go see a concert. You know what I mean? It's nothing here. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, but at the same time, is like they have to get out of Liverpool to actually succeed, to actually make, like, for example, A-Star, Tramsy. This is like grime and drill music from Liverpool. They're actually very influential on social media, but they don't have gigs in Liverpool.
We do need to mention something about lymph. I don't know that much about the background, but I know there's people in this room that do, so I don't know if someone that wants to speak about that.
Are there any questions that anyone would like to ask? Or give up any information?
I think especially around something like lymph, because that's probably been one of the biggest musical festivals that we've had, other than Africa Oye. That is quite a mixture of amazing artists as well coming into the city.